It's 45,000 BC. You are standing at the edge of a firelit clearing while your tribe pretends not to stare. Winter tightens across the steppe. Food is scarce. Strength matters. Fertility matters. You carry a trait no one can name. Your jaw is sharper. Your voice cuts deeper. The women notice. Rival males notice. You radiate something primal, something impossible to fake. You survive, you reproduce. You are about to experience sexual selection. Your story begins with a gene called AR, the androgen receptor. Somewhere deep in your DNA, the sensitivity of your androgen receptors determines how strongly your body responds to testosterone. Not how much testosterone you have, but how well your cells listen when it speaks. And your receptors are excellent listeners. When puberty hit, testosterone didn't whisper, it commanded. Your shoulders broadened, your muscles thickened, your facial hair came in darker, your bone structure hardened into something that looked less boy and more threat. Other men may have had equal hormone levels, but their bodies didn't execute the blueprint as aggressively. Yours did. In a world where women sought strong protectors and men fought brutal status battles, your enhanced masculinity became advertisement. You looked like survival. You looked like healthy offspring. You looked like someone who could cave another man's skull in with a rock if necessary. Sexual selection did the rest. Studies today still link androgen receptor sensitivity to masculine traits women subconsciously associate with genetic fitness. But the gift came with trade-offs: higher aggression, greater risk-taking, potential infertility if the system overfires, more dominance but often less longevity. Still, when mammoths are outside and rival tribes are nearby, long-term health matters less than immediate reproductive success. You don't know any of this. You just know that when you walk near the fire, eyes follow. And by spring, your children will carry your face. But raw masculinity was never the only thing evolution sculpted. Sometimes survival wasn't about intimidation. Sometimes it was about rarity. Gene HERC2 and OCA2. It's 8,000 years ago, somewhere near the Black Sea. Every person around you has brown eyes, the ancient human default. Then there's you. Your irises catch light like water. Blue, strange, almost unnatural. A mutation near HERC2 altered OCA2 expression, reducing melanin in your iris. The result is not stronger vision, not better health. In fact, blue eyes may even increase light sensitivity. So why did the mutation spread? Sexual selection, novelty, preference, standing out. In small mating pools, rare traits can become irresistibly attractive simply because they are rare. You became memorable, distinct, a living genetic anomaly in a sea of sameness. Some researchers believe eye color diversification in humans may have exploded partly through mate choice rather than survival pressure. In simpler terms, your ancestors may have reproduced because someone thought their weird eyes were beautiful. Your daughters inherit your gaze, your sons pass it onward. You are not healthier, you are not stronger, but you are impossible to ignore. And in evolution, sometimes that is enough. Speaking of impossible to ignore, now let's talk about height. Gene FGFR3. It's 12,000 BC. The glaciers are retreating. Tribes are growing larger. Competition is changing. Survival is no longer just about enduring winter. Now it's about status, presence, physical dominance before conflict even begins. Your growth plate stayed active just a little longer than average. Your limbs stretched taller. Your frame became larger, broader, more imposing. In mate selection across countless societies, height becomes shorthand for protection, resource acquisition, and strong genes. Taller males are often perceived as more dominant, more capable, more desirable. Women notice, men defer. Your children eat first because fewer people challenge you. But bigger bodies require more calories. More height can mean more injuries, more cardiovascular strain. In famine, large frames can become liabilities. But when resources are stable and social hierarchies matter, sexual selection often overrides efficiency. You became not merely a man, but a signal, a walking billboard for competitive success. But attraction is not always visual. Sometimes it is chemical. Gene ABCC11. It's 6,000 BC in East Asia. Summer heat presses against your tribe. Bodies sweat. Odor spreads. Most humans produce strong body odor, broadcasting biological information through scent. But you carry a mutation in ABCC11. Your sweat glands produce significantly less odor-causing secretion. You smell cleaner, less pungent, less offensive in crowded social groups. In dense agricultural societies, reduced body odor may have increased social tolerance and mate desirability. Hygiene became an unconscious advantage before soap existed. While some environments favored stronger scent signaling, others increasingly rewarded subtlety. Today, this mutation is extraordinarily common in East Asian populations and also correlates with dry earwax. Yes, your sexual desirability and your earwax are genetically linked. Evolution is weird, but in your world it means proximity. Others overwhelm, you remain tolerable, your mate stays close. And while men often fought for visibility, women evolved under equally powerful selective pressures. Gene ESR1, estrogen receptor sensitivity. It's 30,000 BC. You are a young woman gathering food near the riverbank. Your body must signal health with ruthless precision. Your estrogen receptors are highly responsive. Puberty shapes you efficiently. Fat distributes to hips and breasts in patterns associated with fertility. Skin softens. Facial symmetry improves. Bone structure shifts toward cues men unconsciously associate with reproductive viability. Across time, estrogen-linked traits repeatedly signal youth, hormonal health, and childbearing potential. Men may think they are choosing beauty. Evolution knows they are selecting fertility markers. Enhanced ESR1 sensitivity can amplify these signals. But there are costs. Greater hormonal fluctuations, increased disease risk, yet your body became an advertisement for reproductive success. Your daughters will inherit the blueprint. But beneath muscles, eyes, height, scent, and beauty lies something even older. The major histocompatibility complex, MHC diversity. It's 20,000 BC. Your tribe celebrates after a successful hunt. Bodies press close. Attraction feels random. It isn't. Deep within your immune system, your MHC genes influence how effectively your body recognizes pathogens. Humans are often subconsciously drawn to mates with dissimilar MHC profiles because greater diversity means stronger immune defenses for offspring. Your body can literally smell genetic compatibility. You may think you're choosing someone because they smell right. Evolution knows you are selecting for healthier babies. In pathogen-heavy ancestral environments, this was enormous. Children with broader immune defenses were more likely to survive. Love, lust, chemistry, they are often biological algorithms wearing poetry as camouflage. So while you thought attraction was about beauty, strength, or chance, evolution was running calculations far older than language. Testosterone sculpted warriors. Eye color rewarded rarity. Height projected dominance. Body odor shaped proximity. Estrogen advertised fertility. Immune diversity engineered healthier offspring. Every glance across the fire, every jealous rival, every whispered preference, every stolen touch was nature conducting selective breeding on a species too self-important to realize it. You are not just dating, you are not just flirting, you are not just falling in love. You are participating in a breeding algorithm forged over tens of thousands of years. Whichever traits you carry, whichever signals your ancestors passed down through blood and bone and hormone and scent, you are about to experience sexual selection.